Hey, an actual opportunity to do one of these, because you can't really do them for the Deadpool movies, because those are kind of kidding around, so you don't really know what point there would be. Anyway, let's do this and see if we can't work out which window to put the video in for the newish format. Hey, how's about this? This work for everybody? Yeah, let me know. Look, I'm making this shit up as I go, alright? Anyway.
Everybody got that?
Anyway, if you didn't watch or forgot the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier after taking up the mantle as the new Captain America at the end of Avengers Endgame, apparently Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, had second thoughts, but then had third thoughts and takes up the mantle again by the end. He has the shield and a cool wingsuit, but he doesn't have super strength like Steve Rogers did, because they, can't make any more of that magic blue goo. That was a plot point, remember? It's hard to make it correctly. That's how they got Red Skull and the Hulk and the Abomination and a bunch of other guys. Except someone actually did make more of it, and that was kind of the big reveal in the plot of the show. During the Cold War, the government did a bunch of Tuskegee-type experiments on black soldiers, and the last survivor is this guy, Isaiah Bradley, the secret black Captain America, played by Carl Lumbly. He's the guy who pulled the Winter Soldier's arm off back in the 70s, and the government covered the whole thing up, but by the end of the series, Sam tries to make things right and get him his due credit. But yeah, that happened, and there's also super soldiers again, and there's a sort of bad Captain America called U.S. Agent who works for Julia Louis-Dreyfus Black Ops guys who are also sort of bad maybe, and Sharon Carter turned definitely bad during the blip, but only the audience knows that, the characters don't. Anyway, the show is actually pretty good. You should watch it. Anyway, roll trailer.
Wilson, thanks for coming in.
Well, thank you for the invite, sir. I have to admit, I'm still getting used to the new look.
They said lose the mustache or lose the election.
Yeah, so that's Harrison Ford hanging a lampshade on the fact that he's replacing William Hurt as General and now apparently President Ross, because Hurt died a few years back and Ford was definitely not going to grow a mustache for this paycheck, and also reminding us that it's a recurring plot point that Captain America does not actually work for the U.S. government or military. That used to come up a bunch during all the frequent times in the comics when he's quit the job, most notably during Steve Englehart's original Secret Empire storyline, which I have a feeling they're borrowing from this because Marvel's been borrowing a lot of Steve Englehart storylines during Phase 4 and 5.
I want to make another run at making Captain America an official military position.
Notice those fighter jet insignias are from Japan. That's probably important, I think. Noteworthy side effect of a lot of the important Marvel storylines they end up adapting for these political thriller sub-franchises like the Captain America series is they're kind of fixed in time to whatever was topical when the comics were written. Like at certain points, everything is about Nazis, and then suddenly every bad guys are Russian or Chinese, and then once you hit the 80s stuff, everything becomes about Japan because American nerd culture was obsessed with Japan for about a decade. I suspect some of that business is going to come into play here in some fashion, because there's going to be some X-Men business in a minute or two, and the X-Men were also obsessed with Japan throughout the 80s and 90s. Less because of politics and more because they got to put ninja stuff in it. See also Daredevil.
And if we disagree on how to manage a situation.
Okay, let's get a little bit of this out of the way, since you might have seen this specific still of an actress blow up all over social media, and it's been very confusing about what the hell anyone is talking about. This character's name is apparently Ruth, and she is played by Israeli actress Shira Haas. Her character was originally meant to be a reference to the obscure Marvel heroine Sabra, basically Israel's Captain America. For reasons that probably no longer require immediate elaboration, the character's role has been rewritten as a former Black Widow operative now working for the CIA. Yes, I will circle back to this. I think Sabra is a mutant in the comics still. I don't know if that's in play here, but yeah.
Then what happens?
Giancarlo Esposito is here, and judging by the white hair and several rumors immediately flying around after the trailer, he is probably playing G.W. Bridge, a big tough secret agent guy who shoots lots of guns from the Rob Liefeld and Fabian Nicieza X-Force days. So what's noteworthy here is that it's an actor they probably didn't hire to use only once, and he's playing an X-Men character in a movie that's not a multiverse thing, so that's interesting. Look, guys, whoever this is, Gus is here. He's got 3 knives and an AK. It's a good day. Oh shit, look, it's Tiamat. Remember him? Yeah, the Eternals left a whole big dead rock guy sticking out the planet before they fucked off for outer space to hang out with Harry Styles?
No.
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 No. Yes. I mean, no. No.
Yeah, well, it happened, and since most of the other MCU stuff either took place in other universes, other planets, or before this happened, technically. Yeah, anyway, the point is, the fact that nobody has brought this shit up for so long has been weird enough that it was actually a joke in She-Hulk, but yeah, there has been a giant dead rock monster sticking out of the Indian Ocean in the MCU for a while now, and it looks like it's finally going to be some kind of geopolitical incident for this movie, because presumably 2 whole new continents maybe would be. The trailer doesn't fully indicate what it would be about or what the issue would be, but, I mean, look, if I was guessing based on Marvel stuff, the Eternal who's responsible for Tiamat being there in the first place was the one who turns elements into other elements, islands that either are or used to be or look like big old monsters or kind of an X-Men mainstay, so are rare elements and metals specifically. There's already an X-Men character running around in this, maybe, and a Wolverine, if not necessarily the official MCU going forward Wolverine, will have already shown up in at least some fashion by this point, so that feels already pretty connective to me. You know, like if that big alien rock giant is where the special Wolverine medal is going to come from, the same way the Black Panther medal came out of a meteor, that's a pretty logical 1 + 1 = 2 for most audiences to chase without getting lost, right? Like, space rocks equal magic Marvel medal. Cool. No more explaining needed. Get back to the fun parts. Okay, so that right there, that's Carl Lumbly as Isaiah Bradley, the elderly, former against-his-will black super soldier experiment victim I mentioned earlier. Looks like he's going crazy or stopping someone else from going crazy. Either way, that probably means there's some mind-controlled hypnotic stuff like in Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier. Remember, that was a whole thing? Now, he also has a grandson, Eli Bradley, who later becomes the Patriot in the comics, one of the young Avengers. Doesn't look like he's in this movie, or at least not in this trailer, but he was in the show. Maybe that's a setup for down the road. Oh, and the young guy here with Sam, that's Joaquin Torres. He was also on the show. He's here to become the new Falcon now that Sam is Captain America. He's played by Danny Ramirez. Good actor. Good for him. If you're asking where is Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier, I assume there's a plot reason they aren't telling us yet. But employment-wise, the character is next scheduled to appear in Thunderbolts, which is currently scheduled to hit in May 2025, so 3 months after this. If you're not caught up, Thunderbolts is kind of a Suicide Squad type deal where they make a Black Ops team out of anti-heroes and ex-villains, basically what Julia Louis-Dreyfus has been setting up after the credits of stuff for the last couple years of this shit.
Things are about to get weird. We're not gonna need a Captain America. We're gonna need a U.S. agent.
Maybe you'd like a shot at the man responsible for your sister's death.
We think it was the Wakandans. Excuse me? Our field office got a tip from Langley that they were coming.
Right. Who made that call? She did.
So that's her, Bucky, Ghost from Ant-Man 2, Red Guardian from Black Widow, Yelena Belova, the new Black Widow, Taskmaster, also from Black Widow, and U.S. Agent, the bad Captain America. And now, this is a coincidence in the comics, but probably not here. Thunderbolt is President Ross's old army nickname from when he was a bad guy in the Hulk stuff. So, spoiler, the President, who's been a bad guy in all the other movies here, is probably still a bad guy here. And also, they changed the title design for Thunderbolts a bunch of times, and now it has an asterisk on the end of it, which I feel like is building to a joke where right before or right after it's out, the punchline is going to be that President Solo here is going to declare that the Avengers are bad guys because conspiracy, and the Thunderbolts, his team, are the Avengers now. Because the original Thunderbolts were bad guys pretending to be good guys in the comics, and then at one point in comics there was a whole storyline where the public turns against the Avengers and the government appoints the Thunderbolts in their place, and that's the whole Dark Avengers storyline for a while. So like a version of that, and then maybe Dark Avengers is the title for Thunderbolts 2.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
I don't know, it just feels like it's too good of a branding, Dark Avengers, to not use somewhere.
Global power is shifting.
Oh, hey, you see that there? I think that funeral urn and the old person vibe here with this guy with his back to us, I think they want us to think this is Steve Rogers. Nobody knows where Steve Rogers is, or if they do, they aren't saying. Like, he might have died, he might be in hiding, a few people think he's on the moon, but nobody knows. It's like a whole thing.
Crazy conspiracy theories. Some people, they think that he's in the secret base on the moon. looking down over us.
I'm sorry, wait, who are you? Captain America. I thought Captain America was on the moon.
The voice and the conspicuous hat, though, that makes me think this is actually our real main villain, which I guess they're now going to treat like a surprise, but they already announced this back in 2022, and yeah, they said it's Tim Blake Nelson, returning 16 years later as his character Samuel Stearns, the mad scientist who created the Abomination from The Incredible Hulk. Now, if you forgot or just never saw that Phase 1 Marvel movie from 2008, his lab got destroyed and some of the Hulk goo spilled on his head and made it all bubbly and swelly, and in the comics, that traditionally turns him into a supervillain called the Leader, who's like the Hulk, but he has a big brain instead of big muscles. Apparently is what he's going to be doing here, and also masterminding some or all of the bad guy stuff, but I imagine he's responsible for this. That right there, that is the Red Hulk, like the Green Hulk, but red and bad. One of the other characters in the trailer traditionally becomes the Red Hulk in the comics. I can't imagine they'll keep it from being spoiled, but they aren't revealing it here, so hey, maybe I won't just shout it out, but I'll say this, that's a not even subtle subtext thing to do in a movie at this point. Should be interesting. Like I said a moment ago, I have a feeling this is one heading for a Civil War-style downer ending where the bad guys seem to win and the good guys have to go underground, and that leads into Thunderbolts because everything is unstable and the center can't hold has been kind of a theme for whole Phase 4, 5, 6 runs so far. And
We did beat him, right? I mean, yeah, that's what happened. He was getting out and he didn't get out. I think. But he also said something bad was coming.
Doctor Strange?
Can I help you?
You caused an incursion.
Where are we? What happened?
We were hoping you could tell us.
You're fine. Everything's probably fine.
Thunderbolts is coming out in May, basically right after this. And note, there's also a lot of Hulk stuff in this Captain America movie, and I get the sense that that was even more explicit back when it was originally subtitled New World Order, which was the name of a team of mostly Captain America-related villains from a 90s Hulk comic book story arc. Which I think was also why a character sort of reimagined from Sabra was at one point in this, because A, they were inching towards setting up the every country tries to do their own Captain America thing, but B, she was originally a Hulk character, and okay, alright, so let's talk about this. Sabra is basically a nobody cares character, even by also-ran Marvel Mutant standards. She's created in 1981, apparently at the suggestion of Marvel editor Mark Grunwald's wife. She appears in an Incredible Hulk comic where neither she nor the general concept of Israeli defense action come off particularly sympathetic, which was kind of unusual for a comic in 1981, and since then she mostly only ever shows up when Marvel has to draw a scene in that particular part of the Middle East and remembers, oh yeah, we actually do have one costume person who lives there and people might look for in a crowd scene, so yeah, put her in. She also wasn't named for the Sabra Shatila massacre, by the way. That was in 1982, like a year after she was created, so just a footnote for that, but yeah. So when they started putting this movie together around 2020 or thereabouts at the story stage, I doubt there was any more thought behind this character being in it than what's a geopolitical reference we can pull that might be kind of nifty that we haven't used but feels right for this. And look, I know the fandom likes to call the Captain America franchise Marvel's Tom Clancy, Robert Ludlum series, but tonally, it's really more like Marvel's NCIS, and I feel like this pull was probably that back in 2021 or 22. Oh, here's basically Captain Israel and she's a lady? Cool. We can basically have our version of Ziva from NCIS, because what would have sounded less controversial right up until a year ago than anything from fucking NCIS. The safest show on the safest network with the safest tone of a TV action show.
I want to watch my favorite new show, currently in its 17th season.
Looks like another murder at Jackson Island Naval Base.
That's what makes America great. Prompt investigation of in-house naval crimes.
But, you know, events transpire, and as of right now, the Israeli government and military is carrying out some shit that's, yeah, really fucking heinous. Like, I don't need to throw a slogan or a hashtag in front of anything. This is bad. This is all really, really bad. No one should do this shit. Like, I'm not like a UN weapons expert on what the definition of genocide or human rights tragedy is, but I know what it looks like. It looks like this. This looks like that. This is really fucking bad. If you're not against this, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. This shit needs to stop. These people should be free. And if it's like controversial for me to say that, I don't fucking care. So yeah, I get why people are pissed about it. I'm pissed about it. And as it pertains to this movie, I don't fucking know, to be honest. I have mixed feelings about the efficacy of boycotts and such in terms of actually accomplishing shit, but I'm also not going to tell anyone that feels otherwise helpless to not act on their feelings or principles. Speaking for myself, it sounds like the filmmakers made do with a fraught situation. Can't really cut an actress entirely on the grounds of people have an issue with the actions of the country you originate from. That would be, and certainly look real, not great, regardless of context. It's in terms of, okay, let's rewrite this into something else, which apparently they've done. And until I hear otherwise, that seems like a good faith effort to hear people's concerns. I get that the background trivia of what it originally was and where it was drawn from is still a sticking point for some people. I'm not going to say they're wrong, and that's where I stand until there's other information about it. And if that sounds fraught, yeah, it's fraught. What's not fraught is what's going on in the real world, in the real Palestine, which is wrong. Now back to the much less important but also less painful stuff. How is this as a teaser? It's a Marvel teaser. Yeah, Marvel's teasers have been like different than other teasers for a long time now, in that they don't so much reveal a movie as much as they're these out of context succession of images and ideas designed to be freeze framed on YouTube by guys like myself and go, look at that, and generate content exactly like this as free marketing. So you're welcome, I guess, Kevin. And then the real trailer is the longer one that shows an actual story and what's going on and whoever everyone is. But I feel like when this plays in front of Deadpool and Wolverine, presumably in a couple of weeks, the reaction is probably going to be pretty positive, because most of the audience who hasn't been choking on discourse over this is just going to go, oh, so they're just going to keep having Anthony Mackie be Captain America? Okay, cool, let's see how he does. What? Is that a red Hulk? I didn't know they made Hulks in red. I mean, like, I'm kidding, but I really do think that the 90% of the world that didn't know before this there even was a red Hulk is just going to think that's kind of fun, but also want to know if there's like a yellow Hulk or a blue Hulk, like some Power Ranger shit. And if not, why not? Like, is there a pink Hulk? I mean, there is not, actually. The Hulk killer is pink with orange shorts, so there's that, but not technically a pink Hulk. I just have a feeling that once the general public gets their eyes on this, the idea that there should just be many varietals of Hulk and they should all just punch each other a lot is one of those things that will just be a well-duh obvious thing to non-long-time fans that established fans have just had a block about forever. You know, like what happened with Gwen Stacy, where as soon as someone just did Ghost Spider in a movie, the regular audience went, whoa, we love that, more of that. And it took that for the creative side on the filmmaking end to realize, oh yeah, hey, maybe we should just do that instead of pretzeling every Spider-Man narrative, even vaguely bending in her direction, instead to make that one fridge story from 50 years ago happening and just do different stuff.
Who are you?
I'm Gwen Stacy. I'm from another dimension.
How many more spider people are there?
But yeah, I think this looks cool. The Captain America movies are honestly the best overall thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe apart from Guardians as a franchise. I mean, there's no bad ones of these. And even if the CGI clearly ain't finished here, Captain America versus a red Hulk in a destroyed-ass Washington, D.C. with the cherry trees all around, that's some straight-out Alex Ross shit, man. That is cinema. I want to see that. It looks cool. The poster with the hand grabbing the shield looks the tits. Yeah, I think this looks fun. That's the stuff that I saw in there that looked like worth calling out. Maybe I missed some, but yeah, I think that looks pretty cool. I'm Bob, and that was a big guess.